Greetings, people of YouTube. This is I, Warsaw Matt, and I've invaded Perth we found, and I'm here with Johnny Miles.
Hello, I'm here. Dressed as Paul McGann.
Dressed as Paul McGann. Lovely Paul McGann costume.
It was on the planet Skyro that my old enemy the Master was finally put on trial.
Yes. So, good times, really. It's good times.
Very exciting to have Doctor Who back in 1996. 7 years of no new series. And the excitement of the trailers on BBC One. He's back. Planet Earth, 1999, and it's about time.
And it was the longest 3 months waiting for that episode, wasn't it?
It was. I remember buying the VHS release a few days before it was shown on TV, and the TV version had a caption at the end dedicated to the memory of John Pertwee.
Yes.
I was 17 at the time, and you were 11, weren't you, Matthew?
I was 11.
What do you remember about the TV movie then?
Oh, blimey, what don't I remember? There's so much about it. I mean, the one, I'll break it up, there's several things, but the first thing I've got to comment on was the build-up. The publicity, the anticipation of it. It was it was wonderful.
It was.
It was so exciting because, you know, before then you'd see books that looked quite nice, and you got the videos were coming out in droves, but the idea of new Doctor Who was as far away as anyone could possibly imagine.
It was.
And then out of the blue for me came that wonderful trailer, and then began the biggest build-up, because Radio Times were always talking about it. It was all over the news. It was in the papers. Radio Times had that wonderful souvenir special.
They did. And the comic strip.
And the comic strips, and Doctor Who magazine had their special.
They did.
Which still got. And
me too.
They were running competitions, and they were sticking the Bendy H logo on practically everything they could get away with.
They were.
Of which, if you ever see anything that says it's dated from 1996, if it's cheap, buy it. Or I'll buy it, because it is ridiculous. They are so collectible now, especially, you know, the first TARDIS, the TARDIS watch, and
crumbs, yes.
Oh, there was all sorts. There was films. It was just magic.
The script of the film, the novel of the film.
The script of the novel and the VHS I bought a couple, on the weekend after, because it was run on a Monday.
It was a Monday, May Day bank holiday.
It was, however, on BBC One.
It was.
The home of Doctor Who.
Absolutely.
Which, I must admit, when I was 11 years old, I always thought the home of Doctor Who was BBC Two.
Really?
Because the only time I'd ever seen Doctor Who on TV was on BBC Two with the reruns.
The repeat season, 92 and 93.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I always thought that Doctor Who was always on BBC Two.
Goodness gracious.
And then I learned soon after. I always seem to learn things about Doctor Who very late. You know, I should have known these things when I was 5 years old.
Yes.
I didn't find out until I was 11. But you know, like I say, I didn't start going to conventions until I'm 18. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so it was just. The whole thing about the TV movie, it was this wonderful yummy cake of nostalgia. It wasn't just a strolling nostalgia. It was butter icing and strawberries and all sorts.
It was.
The episode itself, goodness me, I'm getting shivers thinking about it now, because the build-up and the theme tune, the music, and the whole. It started on such a high note, thinking, yes, we're back, we've done it, we've survived.
I know.
We've beaten Michael Grade.
We have. There was a wonderful joy about it.
There was, and the wonderful thing was they weren't treating it as camp.
They weren't.
They were treated like a real celebration. It's Doctor Who is here. Everyone, please go away and enjoy it.
Absolutely. I think they got the casting of the Doctor absolutely perfect. Paul McGann is an outstanding Doctor, and he's got the charm, and you can really believe he is an alien from Gallifrey.
Yeah. But is he an alien? Well, he is an alien. But how much of an alien is he?
Well, in this film, of course, there's the notion that the Doctor's half human, which is debatable.
It is only a notion.
You know,
the retina patterns of the human eye and things like that. So, was the Doctor a human, or is he half human, or is he an alien? Well, he's an alien, because that's where half the story actually is anchored around. You know, the fact that they've got their first alien. Lovely X-Files feel to it. It's the fact that
it did a bit.
That the real world has got themselves an extraterrestrial. So
yes,
Grace takes it upon herself. I love Grace. I love the idea of Grace being the companion. She was lovely. It was a hell of a dress to wear when your night off. But
I just thought she played
the opposite room.
It was.
Crikey.
I thought she just played the part with such grace.
Oh.
I mean, don't you think?
Oh,
sorry.
You went there. Oh no.
Well, let's just move away from there.
Oh, like if you went. Ooh.
So, what did you think of the character of Grace?
Holloway.
That's right.
I thought it. Yeah, Grace Holloway.
Grace Holloway.
Dr. Grace Holloway.
That's it.
Oh, that was terrible. I'm not going to do that again. She was wonderful. It was nice that we had, because in terms of the development of a companion, it was a nice move from Ace to...
It was.
From Ace to Grace.
Quite a contrast.
It was quite a contrast, because Ace was very go-getter, very tough, very straight, you know, everything we know about Ace. But Grace was... she was cultured, she was sophisticated. She was
a professional,
a professional doctor. Which is, I think that was an unwilling nod to Dr. Liz Shaw, because she was a doctor as well.
Very much so. Very much so.
This might just be us making connections here, but that's
you're on to something.
Yeah, I'm on to something. Yeah,
you are.
This is a whole other documentary for me to make at some point.
Absolutely. Walsall Mats.
Walsall Mats, season 6B. Go check it out. Anyway.
Plug.
And Bette Davis thought she had problems. Anyway,
now then,
yes, and I liked it. I liked the fact that, but she wasn't too up herself, because Liz Shaw had that great severity.
She did,
didn't she?
She did.
But Grace had a lot more fun about it.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, and so those gorgeous scenes where they're walking through the. I like it when they're at the institute, about to get to the atomic clock.
Oh yes.
Which I still think looks like the inside of William Hartnell's time road.
I've never thought of that.
If you look at the atomic clock, if you look at the inside and just the different shapes, there's a lovely little nod to the first TARDIS console's time motor.
I never made that connection.
I did. But it's just
extraordinary.
It's amazing what you notice and what other people don't notice.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. This is why fans argue a lot.
Yes. What did you think, by the way, of the Eric Roberts portrayal as the Master?
Oh, bless Eric. I love him. I
wasn't keen as Bruce as the paramedic, but when he was in the robes and the full costume.
Bruce the paramedic had 2 lines, and then he spent 10 minutes snoring.
Yes.
And I sympathise with him because I snore the same. But the Master, that's a lovely movie. It was dark and it was sinister. It was. I liked the way he underplayed it to start off. He was building it up.
He built it up.
What a build! What a crescendo!
I always dress for the occasion. It wasn't dress, but it was dress.
Oh, he was milking that. I think it was Eric Roberts being the panto villain.
It was.
Oh, he was loving every second of it.
He was.
And if you watch the interviews with him, he loves it all.
And I've seen a convention.
I don't think he quite understood what he was playing.
No.
But that in itself is not such a bad thing, because he wouldn't have been drawing on.
He wasn't.
He wouldn't have been drawing on
Roger
Delgado or
Anthony
or
Ainley.
Jeffrey
Beavers, Peter Pratt.
Yeah, he wasn't drawing on any others.
Gordon Tipple.
Yeah.
Gordon likes a tipple. No, never mind about that.
Yeah, Gordon Tipple, the Master. We only saw in part shadow.
He did film more though that we didn't see.
He did the voiceover, because there was a speech. That opening sequence was not supposed to be Paul McGann. It started off as the Master giving his last will and testament.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they changed it because it was a bit dark and sinister.
Oh, really?
So Gordon Tipple, the Master we never saw, which was a
shame.
Which was a shame, because he got a rawer deal than Derek Jacobi.
He did.
At least Derek Jacobi got 10 minutes.
He's the forgotten Master.
Yes.
He's never done a convention, to my knowledge.
No, I don't think. apart from us, I don't think anybody else knows about it.
No.
But no. Eric is the Master. He's just playing it. he's playing it as it's a lot of instinct acting. I get the impression.
It is. He made it his own.
Very much so, and that's a wonderful way to make it his own. And the delicious campness and the banter between the two of them, and all those wonderful. I will stop you, masters, and every word's good. Love that.
I do too.
Love that.
I do too.
And then we have Chang Li.
Chang Li.
I quite like Chang Li. And
the son that the master always yearns for.
You
might remember.
But that's when the master came into his own. It's the fact that he's really brainwashed. It's almost Stockholm syndrome.
Yes.
Chang Li, because he's, the master's offering power, wealth, and all this business, and away from everything that Chang's known, and he just in the middle of the film snaps his neck. That was one hell of a moment.
It was.
But the moment when you think this could go on, I could get used to these three, was when they're stood around the console at the end of the film.
I know.
And you're thinking,
wasn't that wonderful?
That was lovely. And I think we got the better deal out of the TV movie. I'm not saying it would have been a brilliant way to do the series. If you're going to do Doctor Who, you do it in Britain. But to get people interested, it was a nice bit of publicity stunt as well.
I don't know if you heard the story. Sylvester McCoy talked about this idea that if the TV movie, like the pilot, had gone to a full series, he said it would have been on most weeks of the year. So of course there'd be some weeks when Paul McGann would have a holiday. So they'd have to bring in old doctors like Colin Baker or Sylvester McCoy.
They would do past Doctor Adventures. That's a nice idea.
It is.
It's an idea that I would support, because you've got to remember that you could set it in a universe of the Eighth Doctor, so this period of time. So we see the Doctor coming into this adventure. So they'd have a story where, I don't know, Paul McGann's they think he's been atomised, so they need another Doctor to come and sort it all out.
Yes.
Or anything like that. But I think in terms of story, the TV movie was the far better one than what we could have got.
Oh yes.
Because there's a book out there. It's called The Nth Doctor. It's by Jean-Marc Lucifer.
That's it.
The spelling's going to be in the little box down below. If you can find it, it's not in print anymore. I know that for a fact. But if you ever see it, get it. Or if you get hold of the Doctor Who magazine 8th Doctor Special.
Oh yes.
There was the different printings. It documents what the TV movie could have been.
It does.
And the American, when they had the American writers, they were going to do some pretty dark stuff.
I know.
And it would have broken many of the. And Doctor Who has to have a certain amount of rules.
It does.
You don't reveal too much, and this lot we're going to reveal a lot. We were going to see his mother, his father, and we were going to see. There were going to be things like the Doctor and the Master were brothers.
Really?
Now, okay, that's an idea that it was never made official, but it was an idea that Barry Letts and Terence Dicks were bounding around back in their time. I could have accepted that. I've always suppose deep down I've always accepted it. Best friends. I think now they're really secret brothers, but they just don't know it or something, anything like that. But they were going to, it was going to be a lot of connections where the connections just didn't need to be made. Where it was going to be. We were going to see the Doctor's father, and the Doctor's father's father was going to be Barusa.
Oh no!
And I don't know whether you've heard in the audios the little pass-off lines that Paul McGann says, about his Auntie Flavia. It was going to be Chancellor Flavia was going to be his auntie.
His auntie, really?
Yeah, and it was going to be so laboriously. What's the word I can use? There's a word I want to use, but I can't. It was just going to be overly cliched. Is the word? That's the word. That's the word. That's about as good as I'm going to get. I can't use the real word, but it was going to be terribly cliched, and that would have killed Doctor Who stone dead. So this was a good release of pressure, because Doctor Who fans needed something to keep them going. It helped the fans get through the wilderness years, because we had the books, we had the audios, we had the comics, then fan video makers and fan audio makers.
And Big Finish, of course.
They said they
2001, I think. He started.
Yeah, they had enough to keep.
And he's still doing them.
Still doing them. Yes, Paul McGann's going to be released. They're going to be releasing Dark Eyes, which I am really looking forward to because I've listened to the first trailer, the first proper trailer, and one of the Daleks just said the destruction of the Time Lords.
Oh wow.
Will be achieved. So whether Big Finish are going to go down the territory of the Time War.
Oh, what interesting idea.
Interesting idea, because I've always said that the regeneration between McGann and Eccleston needs to be addressed.
It does.
I mean, okay, there might have been times where they cheated it. I mean, we didn't see the physical face change between Troughton and Pertwee, but we knew what was coming. We got to the dying seconds, and they just kept it a mystery.
That's right.
That's when the fan video makers turn up and they did Devious. But like I say, there was nothing to, because we got a Doctor and he was alive. He'd come back from the dead. And there was so much about that. There's so much about the TV movie that people made unnecessary connections. They were saying when the Doctor was in the shroud and had the hair, and they said that they were saying he was a Jesus figure. The only person who's ever called Doctor a Christ-like figure was Sylvester McCoy.
That's right.
But that's just the way he sees the character.
Exactly.
You know, it's never been set in stone. It's just the way it turned out, because it was all by accident. In fact, he would have had those shrouds at any rate because he was in a hospital. He'd just come out of a mortuary. They don't keep a locker room for mortuary patients.
No.
The hair was accidents because he was going to go for the what became the Eccleston book.
Yes.
And they said, no, that's too severe. So they put him in that foppish wig.
They did.
And it's just the way that it all came out by accident. And I don't know, Russell T Davies did put it quite succinctly. There's one thing I'll say about Russell T Davies. There might be sometimes you don't agree with his writing, but his views on Doctor Who do stand. It's the Doctor summing himself up at the end of the century. The whole costume it has elements of everything. You've got bits of Hartnell, you've got bits of Troughton, and there's the other Doctors in there somewhere. You got it's all in there. It's all blend, and anything that we can't see of the Doctors, you get with his performance because he got the excitement. He got that youthful excitement of Davison.
Yes.
When he's talking about his shoes.
Oh, these shoes!
Yes, the shoes! And he's all young and fresh faced, and I love those.
Oh, me too.
And then when he's been sort of quite naughty and very, he dispels the guard with a jelly baby.
Oh, he does.
Gareth, that Gareth character. That was Tom.
It was.
That was Tom.
Yes.
It was definitely. It's all in there somewhere, and it's a nice mashup for what would have been the closing years of the 20th century.
Absolutely.
It was exactly what the fans needed at exactly the right time. Had it come out a year earlier, it would have looked cheap.
It would.
Had it come out any time after, and it would have just been laughed at, and it would have been forgotten.
What I remember is when I was watching it for the first time, and the end, there's the last scene in the TARDIS, the Doctor relaxing, and then the credits.
In the chair.
And I just sort of looked at the screen and put my thumbs up like this and thought, yes, I enjoyed that.
We haven't talked about the console room.
The console room.
How gorgeous is she?
Oh, it's the one Sylvester McCoy said he always wanted.
Oh my
Stunning.
days!
The size of it, all different rooms.
I remember seeing a picture of the console room for the first time. It was in the Radio Times.
Staggering, wasn't it?
And I went home and I was shocked. He said, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I've just seen the new console room for Doctor Who." I said, "What is it?" It's enormous!
With its own library.
Yes, the library and the whole. If you've got the DVD, you see the set. They went into such detail. It was there.
It was.
You just didn't know you saw it, and I think that's such a shame because I think what they would have made it to such scale and depth, because had it gone to series, they wouldn't have had to spend any money on the set. It would have been there.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
The set was broken up and it was dispersed for the 9 corners. But we do know that the console exists.
We do. Yes, we do.
It's been held by a fan in America, and it looks splendid.
Oh, it does. Amazing.
I think didn't he find it in a skip or something?
I think he did.
They were just chucking it
They
out.
were.
They weren't even. I don't know whether he bought it or not. I'd love to find out.
Me too.
I'm going to find out now.
You must
but the fact is, he's got it, and apparently, if you are in America and you are where that fan has that console, you just let him know that you want photos, and he will just open up the garage.
That's
and
amazing.
There she is.
That's amazing.
He will let all. He must have hundreds of fans come to him, and he said, "Can we come and have photos and stuff?" And he said, "Yeah, go for it." Wow. Now, I'd love a fan video maker to cotton onto this idea and say, right, we're going to make a fan video, we're going to use the console. Imagine. But there was everything about the TV movie is faultless. It's a basic story. Can't deny it. It's not very. It didn't want to be too overcomplicated, though.
Written by Matthew Jacobs.
Yes, who I've never seen anything else come out of.
No.
I didn't know who Matthew Jacobs was.
No.
I wouldn't know him from Adam, but he did quite a good job.
He was related to an actor in The Gunfighters.
Was he?
Yes, I can't remember the name. Somebody Jacobs.
Someone will tell us.
He was.
You see that comment box below, you know.
Someone will tell us.
Everything that we don't know, you can tell us.
That is a fact. I have read that.
Yes. But there's So yeah, and we could make a documentary. We could make a video 5 hours long, couldn't we?
We could.
But yeah, what can you say apart from the fact that it was just wonderful, and I will look whoever made the people who made TV movie, whoever was involved, I will love them forever, because that was my. It was a big. I made Paul McGann's my doctor.
Your doctor.
My doctor, and if we hadn't had the TV movie, Doctor Who might not have come back at all.
Maybe not.
It would have just been forgotten about. It was just what it needed.
It did.
It kept the fans going, and it got the interest going again.
It did.
It took them a long time to actually get someone to say, right, get Doctor Who back.
Exactly.
But that's how television politics works, I suppose. But it was just it's exactly what we needed.
It was. So on that note, we'll say goodbye, and I hope you enjoyed our overview of the Paul McGann evening.
Bye. Bye.